Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I decided to do like a little lunchtime mukbang. I know I'm probably gonna get out of the frame a lot, but I gotta work with what I got. I'm gonna be eating TheHabit. I wasn't really craving like a burger or anything, but I'm not gonna go to a burger joint and not get a burger. Some onion rings, so bomb. They have like the best onion rings there. Good. You just kind of like, but that's the burger. I just got like a regular burger, like extra fucking pickles because I love me some pickles. Got some ranch because I love ranch. So today I'm gonna do like a little story time. I'm gonna be talking about the time that my mom got me my first car. Now, it wasn't like anything crazy, like nice. It was like some old hoopty. It's like a white Lexus that my aunt got for like 700 bucks, and then she sold it to me for 700 bucks. But I was a senior in high school. I was surprised that my parents even got me anything, because they're the type that they make me work for everything. Like everything that I had to pay for during my senior year, my parents didn't help me. I paid for absolutely everything. I got myself a job when I was a sophomore, played sports, I tried to keep up my grades, you know. Now that I think about it, high school didn't fucking prepare me at all for life. And once I got out to the real world, I started to realize that, like, I'm glad I took on a job and that responsibility, because it really taught me how to be an adult, and it made adulting a lot easier. I guess it's like a learning experience. Anyways, so my mom, rest her soul, she was my best friend. I could tell her anything. I mean, up to a point I could tell her anything, you know. Everything before that I was kind of a wild child, but that's a different story. Anyways, she got me this car. I was super excited about. The car was under her name, and one day I got this bright idea. Like, I have like this weird obsession with Taco Bell burger, because I only have a 30-minute lunch and my ass needs to be eating. But because I wanted to film something for you guys, I was like, you know what, let's kill two fucking birds with one stone. I wish I had mustard. There should be like, Brianna eats and so does her hair. I could tie my hair up, but I'm not gonna. Anyways, so I want to talk about the youngest one after me. At the time I kind of didn't trust her, but I was like, you know what, let's build that bond. I want to build that bond with her. So I was like, let's just see if she's really down, you know, she's down to keep a secret. Well, let's make this an adventure. Let's make this a sister adventure. So I'm gonna do this water. So I was like, hey, do you want Taco Bell? And she was like, yeah. Who's gonna get it for us? And I was like, well, we are. Like, let's take the car and we'll just go. Like, it's down the street. It was pretty close. I was like, it's down the street, let's just go. She was like, surprisingly, she agreed. She was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And so, mind you, I'm like 17 years old. I don't have my fucking driver's license, but like I said, I was a wild child, so in my head, you know, everything came easy. I didn't really think twice about anything. And so I was like, all right, let's go. you know. My sister is paranoid as fuck, right? But she's like down for the cause, so she's like, yeah, let's go. So we're driving. Um, Again, this car is so old, so old that I literally didn't stop to think that the speedometer was literally stuck at 0. So it didn't matter if you were hitting 65, which by the way, I don't think that car ever hit 65, but it didn't matter if you were hitting 65, that shit was like not moving. So I'm driving, right? I don't even know if I'm going fast, if I'm going speed limit. Like, I really don't know. All I know is that the right pedal is for gas, the left one is for the brake. You know, it wasn't rocket science. I was like, yeah, I got this. I had only driven like maybe 2 or 3 times in a parking lot, like never on the street, like in a parking lot. So I don't know why I didn't know why I thought that was gonna work out for me. Anyways, no, me and my sister were going. I remember we're pulling up to the light to make a left because Taco Bell was on the right hand side, and my sister starts freaking out. She's going pale and she's like, oh my god, there's a cop. And because she's panicking, I'm fucking panicking. So I'm like, oh my god, like this would be my luck. Like, what am I gonna do? My stepdad was like crazy strict. Like, the relationship me and him had was not a good one. So I knew that if I got pulled over and he found out, like, I was in for it. Like, for sure I was in for it. So anyways, I'm like, you know what, don't freak out, like, let's just do it. It was probably like 5:45, 6ish, maybe a little bit past 6 maybe. We're going, and I'm low-key freaking out. Like, I don't know what it is about cops. Like, they could be pulling somebody else over and I'm legit having a panic attack. Like, I'm like drenched in sweat, my hands are clammy, like I just can't keep it together. So we're turning, I'm pulling into Taco Bell, and I'm thinking in my head, like, cool, I'm safe, he's not gonna pull me over. And he pulls me over. And I'm literally sitting there like, fuck me. My life is over. What's up? Oh, I had a car. I don't have a car anymore. So I'm like freaking out. You know, my sister's freaking out. I'm like trying to keep it together. In my head, I was just this dumb teenager who was like, yeah, let's take the car to Taco Bell, even though we don't know how to drive and we don't have a license. Yeah. He was cute, you know, young. He knew that I was scared. I looked scared. I was probably pale as fuck. And he asked me license and registration. I was like, yeah, let me look for it, right? So I'm like looking in the glove compartment, and my sister is like legit, like not blinking. She's like like trying not to make eye contact. So I'm like calm down, calm down. So then he's like, do you have it? And I'm like, okay. So it could have gone 2 ways. Like, I could have just kept up with the lie and said like, yeah, I do have a license, or I could just be like, hey, like, you know what, I don't have a license, I fucked up, my bad. So I decided to tell the truth. I was like, hey, look, I don't have a license. So he's like cool about it. He's like, all right, no problem. Like, do you have insurance and registration? And I'm like, we just got this car. My mom just got me this car. And I decided to tell him the truth. Before he writes me the ticket, he tells me, do you know what car insurance you have? And I'm like, no. And he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh my god. And he shakes his head and like does like this little, like, kind of like walks away and walks back. And he's like, I have to write you a ticket. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because you're driving without a license. I could have just gotten you for something else. He's like, but to be honest, I pulled you over because you were driving perfect, but the sun is starting to come down and you forgot to turn on your lights. And I'm like, literally in my head I was like, wow, you would be that dumb that you don't even turn on your lights, and this is why you're getting pulled over. So he writes me a ticket for not having a license and for proof of insurance and all this shit, right? So then he's like, call somebody so they can come pick up the car, because you can't drive the car home, and have them pick you up, and have somebody else drive the car home. So at that rate, I'm like, okay, cool, he's not gonna tow the car. Like, I'm kind of in the clear. I just need to figure out how to tell my parents or my mom. I'm just gonna keep eating. And so I'm like, telling my sister that if she says anything, I'm gonna beat her ass. I feel she's already scared shitless. And I'm like, look, I'm gonna figure this out. Just don't say anything. Give me some time. And she's like, all right, she agrees. Because she knows her ass would be in trouble too if she didn't tell my parents right away, you know? Because she, like, a few days go by and I get a letter in the mail, which is a ticket. And my mom's like, what is this? And I'm like, I got a ticket. And she's like, for what? And I'm like, so I don't tell her that I took the car to go to Taco Bell. Instead, I told her that I had to go pick up my work check. And it was a long distance from where I worked at a restaurant, to my house. So I told her, like, I just thought, you know, I would take the car. And she starts laughing. It's like the funniest thing to her, right? And so because I was such a lazy ass and like late on getting my license, because most of all my friends already had the driver's license, she was just like, well, I hope your dumbass, you know, passes your driver test, otherwise you're paying like $1,000 some for this ticket. So it kind of pushed me to like get my driver's license, because I feel like otherwise I would have just stalled more. But I'm just really glad that my mom was like, look, I'm not mad. You made a mistake. You're an adult. You know right from wrong. Fix it. Like, this is your problem. Now you fix it. And I did. We had insurance on the car, so we showed proof of insurance, and I got my driver's license like a week before my ticket was due or something. And at that time, my mom didn't know we could get an extension. So yeah, basically I rushed into the DMV, like, again, not knowing how to drive, and like just being like, well, I don't got $1,000. I either pay $1,000 some or get my driver's license. So my sister's gonna come out in one of my like mukbangs or my channel. You guys will get to meet her. Yeah, those are good times, dude. That car literally got me places. Like, it would die on me every time I turned it off, but it's alright. I had like this portable battery where, like, you know, I remember my brother's friend telling him one time, like, bro, your sister legit pulled out a battery in heels from her trunk, hooked it up, turned her car on, put it back in the trunk, and then just drove off, like, whatever. Because to me back then it was like, at least I have a car, you know? Like, now I get bothered even if my tire is low on air. Like, that shit like irks me. We really do grow. A part of me is really glad that my mom was so strict, but man, I really put her through hell. God forbid my kid turns out like that, because I don't know how she did it. I was pretty bad. Anyways, guys, I'm getting full. My lunch is literally almost over, and I just wanted to jump on here, share this video, share my lunch, have lunch with you, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next one.